Oh, no kidding. What a great start. That makes the perfect sense in the world. If there was a way to start it, I feel like that is, I'll take that for a start. I love that. I love that. And so what's up? I hope we're live. I'm going for it right now. If we're not, I'll be the first to do it this way. What up, everybody? Welcome to FYG Live. If you do not know what Find Your Grind is or why we're on Twitch or what this is all about, let me just tell you real quick. Find Your Grind is a platform that focuses on helping people love the life that they. What is it? Char? It's where I love this phrase, but I blow it every time. It is
love the life you live.
No, let the life you live guide the work that you do. Let the life you live guide the work that you do. And the reason why this conversation is so important now is everybody's life just in a moment kind of got changed, and we had to start thinking about things differently, teaching differently, interacting with each other differently, which means using different platforms, having different experiences with our students and the people that we work with. And so we are hyped as a company and as a group of misfit educators, as we like to call ourselves, to bring something to Twitch for teachers, which is new for us. And so we're stoked to be here. So if you're a teacher watching this and you're new hanging out, welcome. If you've been on Twitch before, welcome back. But I'm Mike Smith. I'm the Chief Heart Officer at Find Your Grind. And below me in this box right here is Lauren. She is our VP of Learning Design. Lo, say what's up and tell them a little bit about yourself.
What's up, people? Super stoked to be here. It's been a long, long career trajectory to get here, and always loving inspiring young people, inspiring educators, inspiring parents. And I think in this very moment, we all feel some sense of educating the world and everything being a little bit uncertain. But we have a lot of support and a lot of certainty in community, which is why we are going to kick this off this way, actually.
I love it. I love it. And so we've got, people we're going to bring onto the show, conversations we want to have. We'll be here every Wednesday night having this conversation. And so if you have ideas or topics or people that you want to see on here or conversations you want to have, hit us up. Let us know. We're kind of building this as we go as well, just like I think everybody is. And so in light of misfit educators, one of the things that Find Your Grind loves to talk about is the people that we partnership inside the classroom and inside of learning. We have two incredible misfit educators with us tonight who are going to be co-hosting this, hanging out with us. We're super hyped to bring just their perspective and their passion and their heart and what they do for people across the country to this show. And so will you guys introduce yourselves, tell them why you're here, tell them what you're about, and just let them know who you are a little bit and what they can expect from you.
Absolutely. What's up, y'all? I'm Mr. Alsheimer. I'm Johnathan Alsheimer from D. Fredley Middle School. I'm a middle school history teacher. I'm an author, and I am a keynote speaker, and I'm just as hyped to be here as anybody else. I love talking about education, man. Lighting a fire to inspire. It's what we're all about. That's what we love to do. So here we go.
I love it.
All right. Yeah, and I'm Rachelle Dene Poth. I am a Spanish and STEAM teacher from Pittsburgh, Riverview High School. I've been there for a while. I'm also an attorney and an author. I've written a couple books. It's been an amazing year. Just writing about education. I'm just passionate about everything about education. Love talking about it. Very excited for this opportunity to be here with all of you and to just get this going.
Let's go.
I love it. And so I feel like I'm a big NBA fan. Like, I don't know if everybody watching this is a basketball fan or NBA fan. I said this last night when we were practicing. I feel like you guys are Shaq, Kenny, and Charles. Like, you guys are the pros. You guys know what's up. And I get to be Ernie, who's like, probably played basketball in high school a little bit, but then like his career over to something different. Because I admittedly am not an educator, but I feel like I'm like a teacher in my own right. And so to kind of just, I think to just set expectations for what people can expect from us on the show is I'm going to toss out topics and ideas and thoughts, and we're going to ping pong them around to people. And I kind of want you just to kick it off for us tonight. Obviously, the world's changing. Obviously, things are adapting. You and I get to talk like this because we work remote every day, but this is a new world for a lot of education right now. And it would be crazy for us to talk about anything other than what just happened over the last few weeks. And so just maybe kick us off tonight with this conversation and get the ball rolling about just the impacts that we're having.
Yeah, for sure. So we've got, like you said, a platform. We are all about inspiring change, inspiring new ways of thinking, inspiring new ways of doing. Find Your Grind is all about exploring and discovering new things. So a couple of things about that with us here tonight on Wednesdays. We've got educators. This is specifically designed for parents, for educators, for people who are supporting lifelong learning so that we can create that community. We've also got lots of other channels that we are really pushing out. Experiences for kids where they can explore new types of learning, new types of inspiration with mentors, cool people doing cool things, probably in careers or in industries that they may or may not have heard of, which is part of Find Your Grind. We are all about that DNA of just exploring new spaces. So make sure to check out all of those different channels and avenues. But specifically with Twitch, this is my first time on Twitch. I don't know about you all. I think so, right? This is new territory for us. We are really charting a new path. We, again, this is part of our DNA at Find Your Grind. We're not afraid to try something new, to push new boundaries, to get out of our comfort zone. We feel like that is the best way to learn, explore, and be inspired. So we went for it. We knew that there are a lot of people at home. There are a lot of gamers. There are a lot of young people trying new things. And we thought, you know what, let's just go check out this space. Let's see how it goes. Let's get unfamiliar, get away from the familiar, step into the unfamiliar, and let's push ourselves to learn something totally new. So that's why we're here. Let's see how this goes. We're going to bring in a lot of new insights, a lot of new inspiration, and we're going to roll with it.
I love it. And so to talk about adapting just to the new stuff from our misfit educators, is that pointing to them?
Yeah, you got it.
From our misfit educators, I hope that's the right direction. From our, yeah, it's crazy. From the crew, what are you seeing that's working? What's helping? I feel like it was just bam, world change, teachers adapt in a moment, not just as a teacher, but as a parent. And so talk to us just about the teacher vibe out there and what's going on.
Dude, I think it's crazy, man. It's one of those things where we kind of saw the entire education space just kind of go, whoa, what are we going to do? And then as quick as everybody kind of stepped back for a second and was in shock, everybody kind of regrouped, anteed up and kind of figured out, all right, what's the next step? How are we going to do this? And I think it depends on where you're from, what school you're at, but everybody's kind of jumping in different avenues. And I think the crazy part is we were all kind of overwhelmed in the beginning, just like parents are, man. I'm a parent of 2 kids. And as a teacher too, trying to homeschool and teach my kids at the same time, we're just kind of jumping into the deep end. But as you said, pushing boundaries, it's challenging work, but we're here to do it. And we're not going to shy away from it. Heroes never run. That's what we do. Mm-hmm. And so we're just kind of, exploring what works. And if it doesn't work, drop it, just like in the classroom, man. And if it works, and engage the students the best we can and make this thing, be as positive as an experience as we can make it,
Totally. And Rachelle.
Rachelle,
I know who you are. This is the Midwest thing in me. I'm only good at simple
Oh, good.
names. I'm a Mike Smith. I got to keep it simple. So, Rachelle, do you think, there's been a lot of talk about education is going to have to kind of change, and education and technology and there's been a lot of talk about that. This has really kind of forced the conversation, I think. And so what I would say is, do you think online learning is going to be more widely accepted and valuable source of education after this? What is going to, as everybody's figuring it out, what happens after this has been what my thought has been, because there's what was, and then there's what's going to be. And so just really curious on your thought.
Right. That's a huge question. I want to go back and have the first question. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. But it's interesting. And like Johnathan was saying, is it just came on so suddenly. And the one thing that I did want to make sure that I say for everybody, whether, educators, parents, students, is it happened so fast, and it didn't matter. And it doesn't matter how much experience you have teaching online, learning online, using technology, because we were all kind of, we fell into it at the same time. And so now we have to kind of figure out, how do we make that transition? And I think a big piece of this is what we need to do now to keep learning going, to make things meaningful, but it can't be done in the same way that it was done in our traditional classroom, because we don't have the same time, we're not in that same place, and we don't have the opportunity for those one-on-one interactions. So, for me, if I can move around my class of 42 minutes and talk with my students, and I can see what they're working on, I have a good understanding of where they are in their learning. But now, not having that time, the amount of time that I need, and to have the space to interact, that's hugely different. And I think just on the whole, we all, even if you're not in education, whatever you do, you have to kind of embrace what role does technology play, or will it continue to play in the future? And it's not all about the tech. You have to have a purpose behind it. And so my biggest thing that ties into this is, okay, what are the skills that we can build that either we don't have, or we were afraid to try to learn ourselves, as parents, students, educators, whatever, and build upon that. But we also have to be mindful of what are we doing now in this remote learning so that when we go back to the classroom, it's not the same kind of like abrupt transition. So there has to be some kind of like a flow to it once we figure it out. I think those are just all kind of considerations that we need to have. I think certainly there will be still online learning, but everybody will kind of figure out like what works for them and their students and, their classroom.
I think it also kind of, not to cut you off, sorry about that, but I think it also does, like, people are going to be more comfortable with it, so they're going to jump in on it more, and use it to supplement, which I think is awesome. It also opens up that question, Mike, of or the different things that we're seeing, Mike, of like schools that are really pushing now to put technology in every kid's hands, whereas before it was only like, what could we do? Now it's like, well, we're forced to do it, so now it's like the time is now. We got to roll with this thing. You know what I mean? So it's really kind of like it's a negative situation, but if you want to put a positive spin on it, it's really putting some pressure on educators across the country to kind of help kids out in a way that I don't think anybody really thought of before.
Yeah. Help kids out and make sure that we're using the right technologies for the right reasons. I've been teaching online. I've been exploring online learning for the last 20 years. It's not going away, but the expectation, I know, very young, but the expectation, I think the expectation of tools to deliver what they're expected to do, and the expectation that both users, educators, and both ed tech designers are designing for a specific purpose is so important. I don't know about you as educators right now, both Rachelle and Johnathan, but I'm a parent. I am watching 3 different kids. I have 3 kids, 3 different age ranges, right? So I've got a 1st grader, a 5th grader, and a junior in high school. The range of technologies and the range of comfort that these educators, their teachers, feel in throwing new things out there is so wildly different. So it's such an unknown, such a big experiment right now. I really expect there to be a lot of higher expectations and really precise expectations coming out of this.
I've got a nonprofit that does after school programming. So for us, it's really different, right? Like we're trying to teach, I'm like, how do we keep teaching skateboarding, music, art, like piano, guitar, like what can we do? And for us, the big challenge has been, I don't want to create something now in a crisis that's useful now and then we never use it again. I want to create something now that propels us forever. And so the language that I think I've kind of been running to is like, I don't want to go back. I want to like move forward. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's this idea that like, I can't wait till we get back to school and it's going to be the same, but I'm really trying to push our staff and my team and our people and find your grind. And we all believe like there's what was, but then there's this opportunity to sort of merge what you were going to do and what you could do. And like the possibilities of what's next are going to be huge because depending on when you think schools are going to go back and when this conversation happens, the thing I love is it gives teachers time to train right now that they've never had. Like that's what I feel for teachers is like, there is this moment where now you kind of get to maybe train on this stuff and mess around with it and fail a little bit more because the assignment's not due tomorrow or the next week. And so it's giving you a little bit more time to prepare with it. And so I feel good about I thought that teachers are going to get more time with it, which is something that I hope they take and run with. I think that's a really cool.
Yeah, dude. It's almost like a basketball game. Like you were saying, the NBA, man, it's like the warm up before the game. The game's coming pretty soon. And then by the time we get to the game, man, we're all going to be rolling, hopefully anyway.
Yeah, so check this out. My 1st grader's teacher hit me up and she's like, can you believe that in 2013, I started my classroom website and it's not until today, 2020, that I dusted that off to try to figure out how to deliver to students. Yeah. Second point that she brought up was like, how do I figure out how to collect all of their homework and make sure I can grade it? And I'm thinking, what is the value even of that homework anymore? Right? Like the value of learning and the value of these different moments of inspiration, I think are really going to be like flipped on their head.
Absolutely.
I know there's a chat rolling on this thing somewhere. I don't even know which direction it's going, but there is a chat rolling. If you are watching this and you're hanging out with us, drop comments in it, talk back to us. Like we want to engage with you. Like if you're a parent, if you're a kid, if you're a teacher, if you're whomever watching this, like hit us up. Like we want to know what your questions are that you might have for any of us, or just what you want to talk about. Like, cause we're down to do this Twitch thing, the way the Twitch thing was meant to be done. Yeah. I like it. And so, like, I can't imagine, I feel fortunate that no kids. My wife and I have a really simple life here in Nebraska. I never had to make the transition and figure this stuff out, but so many parents and teachers and everyone had to just like snap in a moment. And like the transition phase, the adjustment, the adaptation phase, like, can we talk about that for a second too? Like some tips out there maybe from you guys, like what's helping, what's working, what's not, like what, as people who are having to do both teach and parent, like what's been helpful for you? Cause I feel like it's probably this like checklist on Instagram I see of everybody's daily schedule that I'm always like, good luck with that one. You know what I mean? Like it's like one phone call or one missed thing and it's over, And so, but what's been helpful for people or helpful for you?
Well, I think one thing, that's a great question, man. I think one thing that we also have to understand as educators and parents is like, man, we got to think about like what our families all have and stuff. You know what I mean? Like not every family has 15 different devices. So I think one challenge that we've definitely seen is like the ability to, whereas like we might jump on a Zoom call and everybody in the class is on a Zoom call. Well, not every kid can get on there because their high school sister or brother is also doing something like that. So it's like, all right, how can we get some different avenues where we're all working as a class? And then sometimes where like a kid can get on in the morning or at night. And that's one of the challenges as educators, I think that we're really seeing is the ability to kind of be kind of equal across the board and provide for every child and every family, no matter what the socioeconomic status or any of that stuff. Like that's the challenge for, and the same as parents, like the pressure of trying to get your kid to learn all these things that they would normally learn in a day, plus you're working, it's stressful for anybody, you know what I mean? So definitely the one thing I've learned is just kind of take it one day at a time. It's a journey. We're trying to help our kids the best we can. It's okay to slip and fall sometimes and to get back up on the horse and do the best we can for our own kids and then for our classroom kids, and sometimes we try something and totally fail, it totally boshes, and then sometimes it's great. But to never just, just trying to try every avenue and see what works.
Yeah, I love that. So 3 things I'm reminded of with that, Johnathan. One is resilience, right? And so you're probably going to hear us talking about that quite a bit, resilience, which is, I think, just a life skill, a power skill that we will really be faced with on and on. The other is a growth mindset, right? Knowing that we don't have all the answers, knowing that this is hard and going for it anyway, just like we're doing right here in a totally new platform, right? And as parents, as teachers, as adults, being able to model at least those 2 for young people is so important for them to see, like, wow, adults and parents don't even have it all figured out, but they're trying and they're learning. That is so important. And the third thing, I think, because we are exploring in all of this technology now, new spaces, like log in, create a profile, go and do all of this stuff. Like, how do we start having different conversations about social brand, right? And seeing yourself or others seeing you now in new ways. Like, us here in this space, conscious of the space behind us, right? Of like, it's the screenshot, like you've seen all the memes of like Zoom gone wrong in the restaurant or whatever, right? But beyond just the live, like what is it that we're putting out there? What content are we liking or not liking, right? And so we're going to see some of that too. But those 3 things I would say are really, really important to model for young people as a parent, as an educator, frankly, as an adult.
Yep. So we got some questions from the chat that I'm just going to kind of toss to whoever. I'm going to toss to whoever it feels applicable to. Is that cool? You guys,
that's cool.
And so, great question that we got was, as teachers, how do you inspire yourself to keep learning, especially in times like this? And so, I want to toss that to you 2 as teachers.
No, I felt like I was ringing in. Like it's gonna be. I love learning. I always have, even as a kid. I played school. I was an only child, so like I went to school, came home, played school. But the thing is as educators, if we are only limiting ourselves to the content that we know when we first start teaching or whatever it is that we teach every single year, then we're limiting our students. And so we have to take, opportunities to kind of push ourselves as well. And that can be scary sometimes. It's like, what do I study? For my classroom, I started to do project-based learning a couple of years ago. And the things that those students learned and brought back in, most of them are things that I didn't even know about. So they'd ask me questions and I'm like, I don't have an answer, which can be uncomfortable, but we can't be an expert about everything. And I think it sets a really good role model for our students, our peers, whoever, to just keep learning and keep pushing ourselves to do different things, especially now. Like if you've been hesitant to try technology or some different, and again, like I said, it's not the technology, a different teaching method of some sort. This is the chance, right? Because like we have an opportunity here to do things differently, to find positive in something that is very difficult right now for many schools and students and families. And so just any time that we can learn something, and then whatever we learn, we can always share with somebody else who might just be needing that information somehow. Like it happens like that sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I love this, man. Like talk about a teachable moment and a way to inspire our kids. You know, as teachers and educators, we can get involved in this for money or for likes or retweets or follows, man. This is a journey we're aiming to inspire. And what better way to inspire our students than to have them and have conversations and have them see us going through, you know, we're going through right now and saying like, honestly, like, here's the thing, let's have a conversation. Like, I didn't know what was going on. I had to persevere. I had to overcome. And did I slip and fall and then tie that into their own life, man? And I think like, that's the biggest thing about education. It's not about facts on a page and any of that stuff. It's about inspiring kids to achieve, inspiring kids to push forward and to try and overcome things in their own life and to try and push and be successful, you know, and achieve great things. And what better way to do that than to have these real life conversations about what's happening right now, whether it's in our classrooms, in the real world, and how this can help them in the future. And say, hey, listen, as an educator, like I don't know everything, but you know what, we're going to learn together. And you know what, you might be able to teach me. And that right there is a huge, powerful tool in the world of education, especially in the eyes of our kids.
Yeah. So we have 2 questions that came through, and we're going to do a lightning round because I know we wanted to keep these things like moving and fast paced because everybody's got a million screens to look at after this, or hopefully maybe you'll log off a screen and just go for a walk. But we got 2 questions that got asked, and I do want to address both of them because I want to, and I think it's important. And so the first question that I think was really important, someone asked about an after school program, and you've been trying to do online, and it's been very stressful. Please email me. Like, we created this chat, we created this whole entire thing so you could contact us and we could have these conversations. So my email is mikesmith@findyourgrind.com. Whoever asked the after school question, I feel like that's an area of expertise that I could talk for an hour on right now, and I'm not going to do that. So like, whoever asked that, mikesmith@findyourgrind.com, please email me. It's a super important question. Another question we just got asked that I think is really interesting, and we don't have to spend a lot of time talking about this because I think Find Your Grind is a really cool solve. So I'm just going to take this one. Sorry. If I could have the big mute button that the guy hits where it's like, everybody mutes. That's
You got it. Take it.
Anyway, the next question was, this is really throwing off my career development class that is in the middle of job shadows and internships. I'm not saying this is a solve. I'm just saying this is a possible solution. But on Find Your Grind, we have so many career videos that have incredible opportunities for your kids to ask questions, incredible opportunities for your kids to engage. There's jobs in there that you've never heard of. There's jobs in there that I've never heard of. There's so many awesome like career moments. And if your kids are looking for a place to go do a virtual job shadow, the videos on Find Your Grind, that content, we call it internally all the time. We call it like a virtual job shadow. So the homepage has a bunch of them. It's a really cool, just head to findyourgrind.com, take apart our content. It's a cool, that's not a solve, but maybe it's like it's something. It's content that's relevant, that's helpful in the middle of a pandemic, and I hope it works. It's great. And so we're going to move on to the lightning round. And Lo, I'm going to pan it over to you. Do you want to fire the questions off, or should I fire the questions off?
You're doing good with the questions. Let's keep going.
All right. I also drink like 1,000 cups of coffee every day. I lost the questions. All right, here we go.
Let's roll, man.
Multitasking. I love that everything's like an app on a phone, on a screen, on a thing. All right, first.
It might be on the TV behind you.
None of those. We'll talk about
Hold on, let me
that's a different
first. Here we go.
Different conversation. All right, lightning round. What do you love about teaching the most right now?
Rachelle?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll just go like this.
All right, gotcha. I always love teaching, but right now it's an opportunity to try things differently and to create a space for students to learn in a way that may very well be part of their future with work, with education, whatever. And so it's just a chance for me to kind of help facilitate that period later on, just now.
Cool. I love it as an opportunity to have conversations later down the road about, you know, what can we do better and what can we do to kind of better ourselves, and having these conversations about life. I think that's a great opportunity for me in the future, coming forward or moving forward.
Love it.
All right, so I'm going to ask the next question. What's the best piece of advice for teachers and parents that are settling into a totally new routine?
I would say this: take a breath, relax, and just do the best you can. Don't look at what everybody else is doing and think I got to live up to that bar. I got to live up to that standard. You just do the best you can do. And if your heart's in it whether you're a parent or you're a teacher or whatever, just take a breath and do the best you can. That's the best advice I could give.
Rachelle?
Yeah, I read a couple of blogs the last couple of days where it's talking about, all the things that are happening. And there was, great quotes that I took away from it. But the biggest was, we're all learning and going through this together, and just give yourself grace. Like, we are trying to make sense in a period of time that's very chaotic and uncertain, and just reach out and connect. And I think that's the most important thing. It's just like, find a way to connect and work together.
Rachelle, you did it. You brought us back to the beginning. The whole point of this first kickoff was the power of connection, right? And it should not be lost on you, you viewers, you participants, anyone who watches this later. The whole purpose of this kickoff was to make sure that we could continue creating connection, to remind you all, whether you're at home, you're in a new space, you're working with kids in a new way, like, this is the most important thing that you can do, is really connect with your young people, really connect with the people around you. And I'm so glad that you did that, Rachelle. Nice one.
Thanks.
I love it.
I believe it. It's 100%. I mean, that's 100% true.
Yeah, agreed.
Awesome. I'm gonna give some information here, because I know this is our first one, and we've got to kind of just like be able to get all of our info out there. And I'm gonna kind of read it because it's a lot happening all at one time. And so, first of all, if you logged in and kicked it with us tonight on Twitch, we're going to be here. We're going to try this. We're going to keep doing this. We're committed to learning new platforms and hanging out in a different way. And so if you've got a teacher friend who wants to engage in a conversation with misfit educators talking about all different topics that are going to be really important for the classroom and beyond now, then tell your friends to log in, come engage with us. If they've never been on Twitch before, welcome them to the party. And let's see if we can have some fun over here on this platform. I want to talk about a couple resources that Find Your Grind has. One of them is called, it's FYG at Home is what we call it. And so Find Your Grind at Home, it's on our homepage, right, Lo? They can find it there. Yeah, so if you head to findyourgrind.com, you'll see Find Your Grind at Home. Parents, teachers, there's a lot of cool activities. It's not as, I wouldn't say it's not as hard academically on your brain, and the conversations that you get to have around this stuff is so good for parents and kids. It's so healthy. It's such good conversations that you're going to get to have.
They're designed to create connections, in fact. So go there, check them out.
Yep. Follow us here on Twitch. We're going to keep trying this out. Speaking of here on Twitch, I want to let students know that you can tune in at 4 p.m. Central every weekday except for Wednesdays right here for interviews with mentors, mini lessons. And then at 7 p.m. on Central, you can catch us right here. 7 p.m. Central, Wednesday right here. The rest of the week at 4 p.m. right here, Central Time, you'll be able to catch some of the stuff that's more student focused. And so I like Twitch. I like this little platform we got going. What do you guys think?
I think it's
definitely
an opportunity to
like
have
a break.
fun,
Can we
man.
high five through it one time? I want to like high five.
I don't know. I got to figure out which one to.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Ready?
Mike and I got, yeah. All right.
Nice.
It was close.
Man. All right. That's it. That's it for tonight, you weirdos. Thank you. Thank you to all you misfits. Thanks for coming and hanging with us on Twitch. We'll see you next week right here at FYG Live. We're out. That's it.